Hi, I'm Jason Sterling. I'm a member of the EA Creator Network. As such, many packs, including this one being highlighted here, Enchantment by Nature, have been provided free of charge from EA. Thanks for watching. Today, we're going to take a tour of the Glen. Fey being kind of an archaic term for fairies. This is a community that developed kind of as just a fairy community. In fact, originally, there was no kitchen here because fairies don't eat, right? They suck other people's emotions out. So I didn't put a kitchen in, but if you're going to have kids and toddlers, you're going to try to have some sort of fairy family, then you do need a kitchen in order to have someplace for those people to eat. You kind of need a bathroom too. I thought about not doing bathrooms originally, simply because, again, fairies have other ways that they can get clean. We're going to do sort of a pass through here. We're just going to see the village here as it lines this sort of river, more of a creek really, right? More of a creek, but sort of a river. With houses built on both sides. Now, as you can see, since I designed it for fairies, some of these places can only be reached by flying. And even at that, basically with the sort of teleportation sort of flying, like those 3 lots we just passed, which I consider sort of the original, town site. Up here, we have a more modern fairy, more wealthy, well-to-do sort of fairies up here with a much more newer sort of development. That's all walkable. So if you have a family, your kids and toddler and stuff can walk around from the kitchen, from the bathroom to their bedroom without having to worry about flying. Although you can always just teleport toddlers and kids. I wanted to keep it at least a little bit, sort of realistic. There is a communal kitchen here for everybody to use. Each of the little sort of cottages you see, most of them, the small ones especially, are a bedroom, essentially. So it's a bedroom for a fairy, and it is centered around usually a particular skill. So the fairy that likes to knit has a bedroom. The fairy that likes to paint has a bedroom. And then they would all come together. The idea is in this sort of communal situation with one kitchen, one kind of primary bathhouse where they can bathe, and these sort of general communal areas for kind of hanging out and lounging around. Like right in front of us with the bell tower there, it's supposed to be a bell tower. That's a library, right? So there's a computer there and a flower press book and some bookshelves, stuff like that. And there is the largest building in town is actually designed for a family because there are 2 children's beds there. Right now they are toddler beds, but they can be swapped out with regular kids' beds. I just used the toddler beds because that is the type of bed we got with the new pack. No kids' beds, just toddler. We're going to drop down on the first 3 structures here, what I think of as the first 3 structures. They're the first 3 I did build. Now, this first one is going to be designed for a sim who likes to knit. So it's set up like that. And I put a fireplace here. I didn't put very many fireplaces in. But I feel like if you're knitting, you're going to sit there by a warm fire and knit. There's a little twin bed. Most of these smaller cottages, in fact, all of them, I do have set up as single beds. There are 2 double beds, one in the family style building, and then there's a double bed bedroom above the kitchen where I kind of think of like where the chef would live, right? Where the chef would sleep. Hopefully my voice is bearable tonight. I just got off work in my normal 12-hour shift. And I think my voice is wearing out after today. This second building we're looking at is what I think of as the original communal hall. There's an apothecary table here and a bathroom. So through the little door off to the right there, that leads to a shower and toilet. And then you saw the sink in the room. And there were 2 chairs on the balcony, of course, to sit and kind of watch the river, maybe talk to people as they sail down it, things of that nature. Across from that communal building, we have the artist sort of cottage. I really like this room because I do like art. It's a little messy, but you've got everything you need there to make art, which is an easel basically, and some decorative stuff to kind of make it look like a real studio. You also have a fantastic view, right? If you pull forward, I pull forward a little bit there so you could kind of see that view. The view looks really beautiful, right? It's really inspirational, you guys. From there, we're going to head down towards, I intended this as a fishing dock, and I guess it still is, but I couldn't find any fishing signs that would work off of a dock. All of them had to be at ground level, or the fish were floating above the water. So there's no fishing there. It's just decorative. But I did intend for there to be, and I looked under like cats and dogs, the debug section. I would swear there was a dock you could fish off with that pack, like in town. I don't know. I couldn't find it. I gave up. We were just looking at the bell tower there. I also gave up trying to figure out how to put a bell in it. I know we got an actual bell kind of tower thing with the wedding pack, but I didn't want to use that and I didn't really like it. So I didn't use it. I just put a statue up there maybe of, in my own head canon, in my own backstory and the lore of my game, the lore of my Sims. That's maybe the founder of the community up there on top of that tower. We're going to move into the library. This again is another kind of communal spot. You can see the book, the flower press book off to the right, the computer off to the left. I took a kind of shot again of the view off of the little balcony off of this room. There's a place to sit and read some books though as well if you want to do that. Leading from here, we lead into kind of the main part of town, right? The main village where all the urban density is, the village density is. We have kind of what I think of as the entrance to the village is here at the end. That's where the spawn point is. There's a way to create a custom spawn point using an elevator. I have a video on my channel somewhere doing that. And that's what I've done on this particular build so that your Sims will load in there. Now, Sims visiting your lot will only load into the community spawn point that Maxis has set. But your Sims coming and going will load in at that spot back there. This is a single bedroom. There's no skills associated with this. This is just that's just someone who wants to sleep, right? It's one little private place, little place to sleep. We're coming up on the bathhouse, the sort of heavily tiled building here on the outside. That's the bathhouse. We also have, I did put clothes here. You're going to see it coming in. The new sort of closet rod or clothing rod that came with the pack. I haven't put clothes on it yet here in this picture, but there are clothes on it when you download the build. Going through the door, we come into the room with the toilet and the sink. Up the ladder is a tub, the new tub that came with the pack, which I think looks super cool. It's a little big. It's kind of big, but it does look super cool. Downstairs by the adult toilet, I did put in a toddler kind of, potty. And there's one by their bed in the main house, in the family house. Right ahead of us here, coming up next, is the kitchen, the communal kitchen. The sort of glass roof structure you see there, it's a little bit like a gazebo. That is the dining room. And you can see it's done more in the rustic style of the first part of this village, right? I think that kind of speaks to maybe an ongoing debate among the fairies, again, with my lore, my background story, where there's this sort of argument about modernism versus traditionalism. And so maybe the dining area has been there for a very long time, and they just had a big fight about not tearing it down. So they built this new kitchen onto it, which looks brand new, fits in with the new sort of look of this community. But it's still the old gazebo. It's still the old, there's no plants here, not gazebo, conservatory, greenhouse. It's the old greenhouse. It's the old conservatory. And they use it now as a sort of dining hall. Now, again, fairies don't need to dine. They don't eat anything. But when they have guests or kids, they do, right? Maybe they meet here. They have like meetings here, like discussing fairy business and stuff like that. I left little gaps there on purpose. Again, part of that is the idea that traditionally they wanted that air to blow through, right? They wanted to feel closer to nature. They wanted to feel part of nature. As they've gotten wealthier and more sophisticated, they've built these houses that are more closed in, more closed off. This is the bedroom above the kitchen. Like I said, that kind of imagined for the cook, for the chef. He or she or they, maybe both of them, are going to live above the kitchen. And then they go down periodically and they cook stuff. Although anybody could use the kitchen, that would be kind of the thing, though. They go down there and cook, call everyone to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's how that kind of works, right? This is the family home that we're in right now. It's got a sort of living room, a little living area here. And then off to the left, we're about to turn into it. That's the kids area. So you can see they've got sort of some curtains they can drop down over their room for privacy. And they've got 2 little beds and a place to sleep. It's not really a room where you go to hang out and play. It's a room where you sleep, Otherwise, you should be kind of out in the plaza, interacting with your kind of cohort there, your fairy cohort. The bedroom upstairs is a 2-story space, very grand. This is a very grand room, right? A very grand building. This would be the parents' bed up here on the 2nd floor. And then we're going to drop down and go into another sort of area that I kind of consider lore, right? Just background for my game. And that is I built a sort of little altar area here at the top. I'm thinking about doing a storyline for this. No promises because it takes a long time to build a story and put it together. And I really thought I was going to get one done for like the love pack, whatever that was called. I don't remember. The love pack we had last summer, I never got it done. I couldn't get it finished. It was just too much. But there's an altar there where they would harvest energy early on, to kind of keep everybody alive. This is more really background stuff, though. This is an ancient ruin that was here first. So did the fairies move here because this was a ruin, maybe? And they felt some mystical sort of connection to it? Maybe. You can see there's sort of Stonehenge-like wall first, and then maybe a more modern-built sort of temple on top of that. So it's maybe 2 different eras kind of built there in a ruin. I can come up with backstory and lore all day long when I'm building, and a lot of times I do get a little bit out of control with it. But here we're just walking towards where your Sims would enter this village from. There's just a little building here. I kind of considered that the welcome center. There's just some plants and a view off into the rest of the village. I didn't do anything else with the space. I really like it like this. Like I might put a chair here or a rocking chair or something. Just a nice, peaceful, calm little spot. This is where you enter from. So there's a little bit of an arch built with these rocks, right? And you spawn there at the tree, at the birdhouse tree. That's where the birds come out of that tree. You spawn right there next to the mailbox. This is another view of the village. Kind of you were coming in on the river. I mean, that's how I would imagine you'd come in, is really on the river or the creek. We don't have those sort of boats in game, and I have not tested the boat from Solani on that. I don't think there's room there for it. I might try testing it. Maybe the jet ski would work. I don't know. This last structure here is self-contained. So this is for someone who did not want to live communally. Maybe they're a little more private as a fairy. They're like their alone time. They don't want to be part of this big, they like their community. They love their fellow fairies, right? But they like to be alone a lot. So this has its own kitchen, It has its own bathroom. Also a place to sleep. It's for a single. And it would be tough to fit a double bed in here. So your single sim you put here, your introvert, they're going to want to, that's it. They're going to stay that way for a long time. I did go ahead and put the other fireplace here. This is only the second place I used a fireplace. I don't know. Somehow I felt like if you're up there by yourself on a cold night, you might want that fireplace kind of warm up next to, get all kind of toasty. Out back, I put a small garden area. Right now, I do have these planters here, but I find those kind of hard to deal with sometimes. It can be hard growing what I want to grow in it. It always says stuff like, make more room, right? Make more room, make more room. So I might ultimately yank those out. I mostly put them there just to give the idea that, hey, this is a garden, right? This is someplace we can grow fruits and vegetables, especially for the second apothecary table. That's the second table here in the build for this guy who maybe works on his own, working on new potions and stuff. So he can also grow some of what he needs down below. We're looking at the top-down view, of course, of this exhaustive build. This really did take me a long time. It was a lot of work. Spent a lot of weeks on it. I really like it. I only build stuff that I know I'm going to use and I'm going to like, because it's really, really difficult for anything to get seen on the gallery in this day and age. And so I really like it. I hope you like it. I hope you like it as well. It is available on the gallery. It'll be linked down below in the description. And my gallery ID is Jason Sterling, RMC. That's also linked below. Just my whole gallery link is down there. So please feel free to check it out. Also, feel free to hit like, subscribe, and notify, as always. We're going to have more videos coming, more build videos, and more of my sort of gameplay story where I have a guy. He's a fairy. Josh and Knox from Eco Living live here now in Everdew. It's their little toddler, and they're already getting in trouble. Josh has already been declared a problem fairy. We did have to take that up with human resources at the fairy HQ there in the middle of town. I will say it was successfully resolved. We were happy enough with the resolution from that one event. Something tells me there might be more coming up. We might have to address it again. But if we do, so be it. Again, please hit like, subscribe, and notify. And as always, thanks for watching.